Right, gentlemen, here we are at Deeside Defenders Wargames Club, weekend event for a 5,000 point Dystopian Wars game. We have here Colin commanding his noble Prussians. Quick comment from our Prussian commander.
I've made a very clever deployment, but I suspect I haven't, given the way the British have spread themselves out. But I'll take my chances.
Okay. I myself here have my beloved French, doing the usual French business of trying to stooge around islands and then jump out to warm things up with heat lances. Quick comment from our Prussian. From our Russian.
Oh my God! Sorry, ultimate insult.
From our Russian and British commanders.
My ship's too slow. Damn it! But I got on the farm to survive, so I should be all right.
The Russians will let me down.
Cheers.
Okay. Right, we're at the end of turn one. Quick comment from the Prussians.
Moving forward as quickly as I can. Sunk the first British frigate of the game. Intend to repeat that. Well, fairly significantly throughout turn two.
Okay. Quick comment from the Brits. Now that you're one frigate short.
I lost a frigate, but I don't need it. I'm plenty more.
First comment from the Russians after the end of turn one.
My ships are still too slow, but I think next turn it'll be very different. Should start throwing range and 15 dice.
And comment from the French. I'm engaging in my usual vigorous island stooging. Hopefully I can avoid some collisions down here. We think it's going to get very interesting in this centre ground over there. And there's going to be some block passages here. So... And considering I was in a bit of a rush this morning, it could really be some block passages today. So anyway, we will start with comments from our noble Prussian friend. How do you feel it's gone, Herr Colin?
Well, turn two's been alright. I'm winning the frigate attrition war, definitely. And his medium stuff is coming in range of my big bad ships. We're also probably looking at 2 or 3 boarding actions next turn.
The British commander.
As expected, of being let down by the Russians.
And over to the Russian commander. If we note here that down the centre he has actually managed to mimic the British shields onto his Russian dreadnought and battleships.
And I'm not doing too badly at long range.
Yeah, the Russian mortars have been quite brutal to my beloved French. A squadron of Almas has been sunk, blown apart. And over here I've tried to block a passage with mines. And the Russian response was that bloody icebreaker inflicted a whole load of range band 3 pain. So, as we move in, yes, in typical manner, the French and the Russians have been slogging it out. The Prussians have been charging forward, and the British have been getting depressed. So, we move on to now turn 3, which is going to be an awful, very bloody indeed. Here we are, gentlemen, at the end of turn 3, a most eventful turn. We'll start off with comments from our nobles, Anglo-Scottish Prussian commander.
Less of the Anglo.
Okay, okay.
Turn went as I expected. There are no British frigates left. There are a handful of derelict British medium ships and a prized derelict Eagle war rotor.
And from our beleaguered British commander.
I'm hopeful the Russians will turn up before the game finishes.
From the rather smug-looking Russian.
My ships are still too slow, and I'm getting clogged up in the corner from the middle.
As we did say, there'd be a blockage at the end.
Yes, it's an extreme block.
And we are getting to a bit of a major blockage. And from the perspective of the French,
There's a blockage.
We've inflicted some pain here in the centre ground, but God help us when that lot over there arrive. That's going to hurt.
I don't like you pointing at Len. You're on the wrong side of the camera.
Yeah, I know, because my hand, I can see my hand. As for over here, oh good grief, that's going to be a tight passage.
That's what she said. And then knows all about tight passages.
I'm eating my pork.
And here, there's something big, a big Russian icebreaker that I'm going to have to do something about. So, it's been a game of boarding. Yeah, and a few tight passages. And we wait now to see what turn 4 will bring. Maybe, you never know, the Russian things might actually move a little bit and do something rather painful to my French ships. You can see what we will have holding the centre ground. Everything will hinge in turn 4. And we'll go on to turn 5 or 6. So, till then, till the next exciting instalment. Gentlemen, we get to the end of turn 4, and as can be seen, the Prussians have largely mopped up an inferior British force over here. The centre ground, where the French in commandery form have been assisting the Prussians in dealing with both the Brits and the Russians. Not that the Prussians have given the French much assistance. And over here, so we get to undeniably quite a frightening situation. The French have had to resolve 10 collisions this turn in the centre ground here, including an entire squadron of frigates tail-ending each other. While here it could get decidedly interesting as the new French battleship runs into the jaws of the Russians. Now, a quick comment from our noble Scottish Prussian commander.
My turn's going very well, apart from the mistakes the French have made in deployment and in coming round the large island in the middle of the table. But apart from that, I think it's going very well.
And from the beleaguered British commander.
The French have fallen for our trap and the Russians are now here.
And how much of that fleet do you have left?
Most of it.
No, fleet left in that's not in Prussian hands.
I got all my big ships still.
Okay, and to our Russian commander.
If my dice were better, I'd be alright. But unfortunately, my dice are failing me at the points that I need them to. But hopefully, my dreadnoughts and battleships will probably snot all of those ships in front of them.
Yes. The noble French fleet sacrificing itself in support of their undeserving Prussian allies.
By sacrificing me crashing into each other and causing mass collisions.
As in sacrificing, as in bearing the brunt of the Prussian dreadnought, while hardly contributing anything to the fight themselves.
That much is true. The French have hardly contributed anything to the fight.
Oh! The French, we have nobly sacrificed.
The most damage they've done technically is to themselves.
No, in all the collisions we only did 1 point of damage.
Still, you've actually caused 10 collisions.
Yes.
And only one of them was caused by me. So.
Yes, okay. Slight navigation issue.
Not for the clever
But that was down to...
off the Prussians.
That was
There would
down...
be another 5 collisions.
That was down... The collisions were down to the Prussian supplied maps, charts. So, we will now move into turn 5. And as you can see, it is all to play for.
And multiple collisions.
Yeah.
Then ahead.
Well, here we are. We've got to the end of turn 5 after 6.5 hours of playing. A 5,000 point battle, and signals have come ordering the fleets to head for home. The Prussians have secured this zone here. The French have bravely fought in the centre, keeping the Russians away from their Prussian allies. And the French sacrifice continues on this flank, soaking up more of the Russian menace So the Prussians sail off home proud,
Yes,
content,
Yes, we do.
having been, while the French have been busily covering their asses and protecting them, not only protecting them from the Russians, but also absorbing some of the, fighting on two fronts. So a quick comment from the Prussian commander.
I think I can safely agree that, yes, the French have been fighting on two fronts, but that's primarily because of the tactical doctrine involving splitting their deployment across a mountain. Yes, the Prussians have been victorious in this final turn with very little to do except head towards the enemy fleets, having wiped out every single British ship in their deployment zone.
While the French contributed to that,